Virgin forced to marry a paralyzed billionaire. It was her first time, and he won't let her. Part 3, 5 days. Isla had been gone for 5 days. They'd talked every night, long conversations about her father, his treatment, her emotions. But it wasn't the same as being together. Now standing in the doorway of their home, Isla looked at Damien and felt her heart break and heal all at once. He looked exhausted. His hair was messy like he'd been running his hands through it. His eyes were red-rimmed. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi." They stared at each other for one eternal second. Then Isla dropped her suitcase and ran. Damien rolled forward to meet her. She crashed into his lap, throwing her arms around him, sobbing into his shoulder. "I missed you," she gasped. "God, I missed you so much." "I missed you too." His voice was rough, breaking. Don't ever leave me again." "I won't, I promise." They held each other like they'd been separated for years instead of days. Finally, Damien pulled back to look at her. "Are you okay?" "I am now." She cupped his face. "My father's in treatment, 90-day program, and I set boundaries, real ones. I'm proud of you. It was hard, the hardest thing I've ever done." "I know, but I needed to do it. For me, for us." "I know that too." He kissed her forehead. "You're stronger than you realize." "I learned from you." They went upstairs together, Isla refusing to let go of his hand the entire way. In their bedroom, she finally asked, "How were you? Really?" Damien was quiet for a moment. "Lost, scared, proud of you, but terrified you wouldn't come back." "I promised I would." "I know, but promises break sometimes." His eyes were vulnerable. "Some of mine did. After the accident, everyone promised to stay, and then—" "I'm not everyone." She climbed onto the bed, pulling him close. "I'm your wife, and I'm not going anywhere." He kissed her then, desperate and relieved and full of love. That night they reconnected in every way that mattered, and Isla finally felt complete. The next morning, Damien found Isla in the library. She was curled up in her reading nook, coffee in hand, looking peaceful for the first time in weeks. "Can we talk?" he asked. She set down her book immediately. "Of course. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. While you were gone, I did a lot of thinking." "Okay." He rolled closer, holding a folder. "I've been so focused on proving I'm the same person I was before the accident. Strong, capable, unbreakable. You are all those things. But I'm not the same person," he continued, "and I don't want to be." Isla's brow furrowed. "I don't understand. The person I was before, he was arrogant, closed off. He built walls and kept people at a distance. He thought vulnerability was weakness." Damien met her eyes. "That person would never have let you in." "Damien, but this person, the one I am now, he knows better. He knows that real strength is asking for help, that vulnerability is courage, that love is worth the risk." Tears filled Isla's eyes. "So I've made a decision," Damien said, opening the folder. "I'm stepping back from the company, not leaving entirely, but delegating more, trusting others to lead." "What? Why?" "Because I want a life, a real life, with you." He smiled. "I want to help you run the bookstore. I want to travel. I want to have lazy Sunday mornings where we don't think about board meetings or profit margins." "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." He took her hand. "You showed me there's more to life than work, than proving myself. And I want to live that life with you." Isla launched herself at him, kissing him through her tears. "I love you so much. I love you too." "So what does this mean?" "It means," Damien said, grinning, "I'm about to become a very hands-on bookstore co-owner. Hope you're ready." She laughed. "I was born ready." They spent the morning making plans, Real plans for a future built on love, not obligation. Damien would transition to a chairman role, letting others handle day-to-day operations. Isla would expand the bookstore, maybe add a cafe section, and together, oh, they'd build something beautiful, something real, something that was entirely theirs. 2 weeks later, Damien asked Isla to stay late at the bookstore. Why? She'd asked, suspicious. Inventory. Very important inventory. We did inventory yesterday. Did we? I must have forgotten. Now, walking into the darkened bookstore, Isla froze. The entire space had been transformed. Fairy lights hung from the ceiling. Candles flickered on every surface. Flowers, yellow daffodils, her favorite, filled every corner. And in the center, Damien waited. "What is this?" she whispered. "Do you remember," Damien said, "when we got married? Kinda hard to forget. It was awful, cold, impersonal, everything a wedding shouldn't be. It wasn't that bad. Ayla, I called you 12 and refused to kiss you." She smiled. "Okay, it was pretty bad. So I want to do it again." He rolled forward, pulling a small box from his pocket. "The right way." Isla's breath caught. "I want to marry you again," Damien said, opening the box to reveal a stunning ring. Not the one from their contract wedding, but something new, beautiful, chosen. Not because of a contract or a debt or board pressure, but because I love you, because I choose you, every single day. Tears streamed down her face. "So, Isla Monroe Hawthorne," he continued, his voice thick with emotion, "will you marry me? Again? For real this time?" She dropped to her knees.
If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you more amazing love stories. All right, back to the story.
In front of him, laughing and crying. "Yes, yes, of course, yes." He slid the ring onto her finger. Perfect fit, perfect choice, and pulled her into his arms. "I love you," he whispered. "I love you too." "And this time," he said, grinning, "Queen, I'm definitely kissing you." He did, and it was everything their first wedding kiss should have been. Perfect. When they finally broke apart, Damien said, "There's more." "More? I've planned a real wedding. Small, intimate, just the people we love, in 2 weeks, at the library. Our library, our home, our place." His eyes were bright. "Will you marry me there?" "I'll marry you anywhere," she whispered, and she meant it. 2 weeks later, Isla stood at the entrance to their library, heart pounding. This was it, their real wedding. Through the doorway, she could see the space transformed. Candles flickered on every surface. White roses and daffodils created an aisle between the bookshelves. And at the end, Damien waited, standing. Between the decorated parallel bars, using his arms and legs to hold himself upright, he stood. Isla's eyes filled with tears. "Ready?" Vivian asked beside her. She'd insisted on walking Isla down the aisle this time. "So ready." They walked together, slow and measured, while a string quartet played softly. When Isla reached Damien, she saw the effort it took for him to stand, the trembling in his legs, the strain in his arms, but also the determination in his eyes. "Hi," he whispered. "Hi," she whispered back. "You're standing." "For you, always for you." The officiant, a warm woman named Claire who ran a local community center, smiled at them both. "We're gathered here today," Claire began, "not for a marriage of convenience, but for a celebration of love. Real, hard-won, beautiful love." Isla couldn't take her eyes off Damien. "Damien," Claire said, "your vows." He took a shaky breath. "Isla, the first time we did this, I was angry, resentful. I saw you as an obligation, a burden." Isla squeezed his hands. "But you were never those things," he continued. "You were a gift, a light in my darkness. You saw past the wheelchair, past the walls, past all my damage, and you loved me anyway. Tears streamed down her face. You taught me that strength isn't about walking or standing. It's about choosing love even when it's scary, even when it's hard, even when the world is watching and judging. His voice broke. So I'm choosing you. Today, tomorrow, forever. I love you, Isla. Completely, desperately, really. Isla, Claire said gently. Your vows? Isla wiped her eyes, laughing through her tears. I didn't write anything because I knew I'd cry and forget it all anyway. Everyone laughed. But I'll try, she continued. Damien, will you call me 12 on our wedding day? You refused to kiss me. You made terrible coffee and pushed me away at every turn. He smiled. But underneath all that, I saw you, the real you, someone brilliant and brave and so deeply good, someone fighting every single day to be whole. And I didn't fall in love with the billionaire or the CEO or the man you were before. I fell in love with you, exactly as you are. Damien's eyes glistened. So I choose you too, Isla finished. Your grumpy mornings, your terrible coffee, your beautiful heart, all of it, forever. Claire beamed. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you, again, husband and wife. Damien, you may kiss your bride. Finally, Damien murmured. He pulled Isla close and kissed her. Their guests erupted in applause and cheers. And this time, when they pulled apart, both smiling through happy tears, Isla knew. This was how it was always supposed to be. The reception was small but perfect. Mrs. Chen had prepared Isla's favorite foods. There was champagne and cake and laughter that filled every corner of the library. Isla sat curled against Damien on the love seat, feeding him bites of cake and stealing kisses between conversations. You stood the entire ceremony, she whispered. That must have hurt. Worth it, he said simply. To see your face, to do this right. I love you. I love you too. Dr. Sarah Chen approached, holding an envelope. Sorry to interrupt, but I have news, important news. Damien sat up straighter. What kind of news? I've been consulting with a colleague, a specialist in spinal cord injuries. And based on your progress, the standing, the steps, the increased sensation, he believes you might be a candidate for an experimental treatment. Isla's breath caught. What kind of treatment? Damien asked carefully. Stem cell therapy combined with intensive physical rehabilitation. It's not a guarantee, but there have been cases, rare cases, of patients regaining more mobility than doctors initially predicted. How much more? Isla asked. We won't know until we try, but potentially, Dr. Chen paused. Potentially significant improvement, maybe even walking, Damien finished, his voice barely above a whisper. Maybe. The treatment is rigorous, painful, no promises, but given your progress, I think you should consider it. Damien looked at Isla. What do you think? I think, she said carefully, that it's your choice. And whatever you decide, and I'm with you. Even if I try and fail, even then, she took his hand. You're already whole to me. This doesn't change that. He turned back to Dr. Chen. When can we start? Next month, if you're willing. I'm willing. After Dr. Chen left, Isla asked quietly, Are you sure? No, Damien admitted. I'm terrified. Of hoping. Of failing. Of trying? Yes. Then let's be terrified together. She kissed him softly. Whatever happens, we face it as a team. A team, he repeated, smiling. I like that. 6 months later, the experimental treatment had been brutal, painful, exhausting, but it had worked, not completely. Damien still needed mobility aids, sometimes canes, sometimes a wheelchair for longer distances. The doctor said he'd likely always need them, but he could walk. With effort and assistance, he could walk. And more importantly, he'd stopped trying to prove anything. Now, sitting in the expanded bookstore, complete with the new cafe section they'd built together, Damien watched Isla arrange a display of romance novels and felt content. "You're staring," she said without looking up. "Can't help it. You're beautiful." "You're biased." "Absolutely." She walked over, plopping into his lap. "How's the quarterly report looking?" "Boring. Let's talk about something else." "Like what?" "Like the fact that I'm the luckiest man alive." She rolled her eyes. "You're ridiculous." "I'm serious. I have an amazing wife, a business I actually enjoy, a cat that only sometimes hates me." As if summoned, Darcy jumped onto the table and glared at him. "See? Sometimes." Isla laughed. "What brought this on?" "Just thinking about how different things are from a year ago. How different I am. Better different? So much better." He pulled her closer. "I used to think my life ended with the accident, that I'd never be whole again, never be happy. And now? Now I know my life actually began that day, because it led me to you." Tears filled her eyes. "That's the most romantic thing you've ever said." "I've been reading your romance novels. Learning." "I knew it." He kissed her, deep and sweet, not caring that customers could see through the window. When they pulled apart, Isla whispered, "I have news." "Good news or bad news?" "Good news. Amazing news, actually." "Tell me." She took his hand and placed it on her stomach. "We're going to have a baby." Damien froze. "What?" "I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. I found out this morning." For a moment he couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Then he pulled her into his arms and kissed her like his life depended on it. "We're having a baby," he repeated, laughing and crying at the same time. "We're having a baby," she confirmed. "I love you. God, I love you so much." "I love you too." They sat there holding each other, imagining their future, a future neither of them had dared to dream of a year ago. But now anything felt possible because they had each other, and that was everything. Dearest viewers, what's your favorite part of this love story? The growth, the healing, or the happy ending? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing what moments touched your heart. 1 year later, Isla woke to the sound of soft babbling from the bassinet beside their bed. She smiled, still half asleep. Anne reached over to find Damien already awake, leaning over their daughter. "Good morning, Lily," he whispered to the baby. "Did you sleep well?" 6-month-old Lily Rose Hawthorne, named after Isla's mother, gurgled happily and reached for her father's face with tiny hands. "She's got your smile," Isla murmured. Damien looked over, grinning. "And your stubbornness. She refused to sleep until 2 a.m. That's definitely from you. Lies and slander." He carefully lifted Lily from the bassinet. He'd gotten remarkably good at managing the baby while using his cane, and brought her to Isla. "Breakfast time for this little one," he said. As Isla nursed their daughter, Damien sat beside them, one arm around Isla's shoulders, watching with an expression of pure wonder. "I still can't believe she's real," he said softly. "Believe it, especially at 2 a.m. when she's screaming. Even then," he kissed Isla's temple, "especially then." After feeding Lily and getting dressed, they headed downstairs for breakfast. The mansion had changed significantly over the past year. It was warmer now, more lived in. Photos covered the walls, wedding pictures, bookstore opening, Lily's newborn photos, toys scattered across previously pristine floors. It finally felt like a home. Mrs. Chen had breakfast waiting, actual normal breakfast, not fancy terrible food, and cooed over Lily while they ate. "Your father called," Mrs. Chen mentioned to Isla. "He asked if he could visit next week." Isla exchanged a look with Damien. "What do you think?" "It's your choice," he said. "How's he doing?" 6 months sober, still in therapy. He wants to meet Lily." "And you want that?" Isla considered. Her father had completed his 90-day treatment and continued with outpatient therapy. Their relationship was still healing, slowly, carefully, but it was healthier than it had ever been. I do, she said finally. He's trying, really trying this time. Then yes, he can visit. After breakfast, they headed to the bookstore, now a family affair. The bookstore was thriving. What had started as Isla's small dream had grown into something bigger. They'd expanded twice, added the cafe, created a children's section, and started hosting community events. Today was Saturday story time. Vivian's idea, surprisingly. Damien's grandmother sat in the children's corner, reading to a group of enchanted kids while their parents browsed or sipped coffee. Who knew Vivian was so good with children? Gerald whispered to Isla. And she's been practicing on Lily, Isla said, smiling as she helped a customer find a book. Damien rolled over. He alternated between the wheelchair and canes depending on how he felt, with Lily in his arms. Someone wants her mama, he said. Isla took their daughter, who immediately grabbed a fistful of her hair. Ow. Yes, baby. Mama's hair is very interesting. A woman browsing nearby looked up and gasped. Oh my God, you're Isla Hawthorne, and that's your husband. Isla smiled politely. Guilty. I followed your whole story. The press conference, the wedding redown. It was so romantic. Can I get a picture? Of course. After the photo, the woman gushed. You two give me hope, you know? That real love still exists. When she left, Damien raised an eyebrow. It were relationship goals, apparently. Apparently? Think we should tell them about the time you threw a book at my head? That was one time and you deserved it. I probably did. They laughed and Lily giggled along, not understanding, but happy to be included. Later, during Lily's nap in the office, Damien pulled Isla aside. I have something for you, he said. Another surprise. You spoil me. Always. He handed her an envelope. Inside were legal documents. Isla scanned them and gasped. This is... You're making me equal partner? In the company? Not the whole company. Just a new division I'm creating. Hawthorne Publishing. He smiled. We're going to publish books, Isla. Real books by new authors who need a chance. And you're going to run it. Tears filled her eyes. Damien, you gave me a dream. The bookstore, this life. Now you let me give you one too. She kissed him desperately. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's one condition. What? Our first published author has to be terrible at coffee making. It's only fair. She laughed through her tears. Deal. That evening, after closing the bookstore and having dinner with Vivian, who now insisted on family dinners every week, they settled into their favorite spot in the library. Lily played on the floor with her blocks, babbling to herself in the language only toddlers understand. Darcy supervised from a safe distance. Isla leaned against Damien's shoulder, utterly content. Do you ever think about it? She asked. Think about what? That day. Our first wedding. How terrible it was. Damien chuckled. All the time. Do you ever wish it had been different? That we'd met some other way? He was quiet for a moment, considering. No. Really? Really, because if it had been different, if I'd met you before the accident, when I was arrogant and closed off, I wouldn't have appreciated you. I wouldn't have been ready for you. He shifted to look at her. The accident broke me, but being broken meant I could be rebuilt. Better, stronger, into someone who deserved you. Isla's eyes filled with tears. You always deserved me. No, but I'm grateful every day that you thought I did. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Lily stack blocks only to knock them down with delighted squeals. She's going to be a terror, Isla observed. Absolutely. She already has both of us wrapped around her finger. Like father, like daughter. Hey! Isla laughed and kissed him. I love you, both of you. This whole chaotic, beautiful life we built. I love you too. He pulled her closer. You know what the best part is? What? This is just the beginning. We have forever. Forever, Isla repeated, smiling. I like the sound of that. Lily toddled over, climbing onto the love seat between them. She patted Damien's face with one hand and Isla's with the other, her way of demanding attention. Yes, princess, Damien said, scooping her up. We see you. We always see you. Isla watched her husband play with their daughter. This man who'd been so broken, so angry, so convinced he'd never be whole, and marveled at the transformation, not just his, hers too. She'd been a girl playing dress-up in someone else's life. Now she was a woman who knew exactly who she was. A wife, a mother, a business owner, a partner, and she was happy. Truly, completely unexpectedly happy. Later that night, after putting Lily to bed and settling into their own bed, Damien pulled Isla close. Thank you, he whispered into the darkness. For what? For not giving up on me, for seeing past the wheelchair and the walls and all my damage, for loving me anyway. You weren't damage, you were a puzzle, and I love puzzles. He laughed softly. Only you would compare me to a puzzle. A very attractive puzzle. I'll take it. They lay in comfortable silence until Isla said, Damien? Do you ever miss it? The old life? Before the accident? Sometimes I miss walking without thinking about it. Running, dancing. He paused. But you know what I don't miss? What? Being alone, being empty, going through the motions without really living. He tightened his arms around her. Where the accident took my legs, but it gave me everything else. It gave me you. Isla's heart swelled. That's the most beautiful thing you've ever said to me. I've been saving it. For what? For the perfect moment. He kissed her forehead. This, right here. This is the perfect moment. And he was right. It was perfect. Not because everything was easy or fixed or without struggle, but because they'd found each other, chosen each other, built a life together from the broken pieces of their pasts. They'd turned a forced marriage into real love, an obligation into a choice, a contract into forever. And as Isla drifted off to sleep in her husband's arms, she smiled. Because she knew the truth. The best love stories aren't the ones that start perfectly. They're the ones that start broken and become beautiful anyway. And theirs? Theirs was beautiful. 5 years later, the bookstore had become a local landmark. Hawthorne Publishing had launched 20 new authors. Lily was starting kindergarten, already showing signs of inheriting both her parents' stubbornness and her father's sharp mind. Isla's father was 3 years sober and rebuilding his life slowly but surely. He visited monthly, always with gifts for Lily, always grateful for the second chance his daughter had given him. Damien still used mobility aids, some days better than others, but he'd stopped seeing them as a limitation. They were just part of him, part of their story. And on their 5th wedding anniversary, the real one, not the contract one, Damien surprised Isla with one final gift. A book, published by Hawthorne Publishing, written by him. It's the title and From Broken to Beautiful, a love story. The dedication, to Isla, who taught me that the best endings come from the messiest beginnings. I love you, always. Isla cried reading it, laughed, cried some more. And when she finished, she looked at her husband, standing beside her with his cane, smiling that smile that still made her heart race, and said, "We should write a sequel." Oh yeah, what would it be about? About everything that comes after happily ever after. The real stuff. The messy, beautiful, imperfect real stuff. Damien pulled her close and kissed her. I love that idea. Good, because I love you. I love you too. Forever. Forever, Isla agreed, and they meant it. The end.